Let me read to you a passage from the 13th chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel, verses 36 to 43. It's the Gospel for Tuesday of the 17th week of Ordinary Time, Year A. St. Matthew writes, Jesus dismissed the crowds and went into the house. His disciples approached him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds in the field." He said in reply, "He who sows good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed, the children of the kingdom. The weeds are the children of the evil one. And the enemy who sows them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the harvesters are angels. Just as weeds are collected and burned up with fire, so will it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all who cause others to sin and all evildoers. They will throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Whoever has ears ought to hear." That's from Matthew chapter 13, verses 36 to 43. It speaks of the judgment, divine judgment. You know, everywhere we see consequences at work, consequences. Things happen, and consequences flow from them. A cyclone suddenly arises. It gathers size, strength, and momentum, and vast numbers of people are left devastated. There have been terrible consequences of the passing through of the cyclone. Again, there is rain, wonderful rain, and the consequences are a great harvest and much joy. There are philosophers who deny the reality of consequences or causation. They think that there is only succession, and that there is no proof that one thing is the consequence of another. But this flies in the face of common sense and what we might call the voice of mankind. If you hit the cricket ball with the cricket bat, the ball will be made to travel in a certain direction. There you have an instance of causation and consequence. It is not a matter of mere succession. The universe abounds with an incalculable series of causes and effects, of consequences, to such an extent that one could say that the world is essentially a cauldron of consequences. So much is this the case that the world cries out for a first cause, to give it a fundamental intelligibility. But let us pass on from this all-pervasive feature of the non-human world to mankind. Mankind itself, the dominant occupier of this world, is a vast phenomenon. No one could possibly calculate the number of human beings there have been. But again, there is the phenomenon of consequences. Wherever man is, he acts, and there are consequences flowing from his action. Just as mankind is a tremendous fact, so are the consequences of man's action in history. There is a radical difference between the consequences flowing from the things that happen in the physical and non-human world and those that flow from the actions of mankind. Man acts freely. He can do one thing or another, whereas the non-human world must act in a certain way. The prowling lion must act in a certain way, in the way that is that its instincts dictate. Man has instincts, tendencies, and temperament, but he has the capacity to choose. He can choose to act merely according to his tendencies, or he can act according to what he perceives to be his objective duty. Whatever way he chooses to act, there will be consequences. Not only does man see that there are consequences flowing from the free choices he makes, but everywhere he sees facing him a judgment on his free choices. In fact, very commonly the judgment that is made on him as a result of his choices is regarded as their principal consequence. He freely chooses to raise a large family, spends himself on the proper upbringing of his children, is successful in their spiritual and moral formation, and is judged by others to be a good man, and is praised and respected as a result. His ordinary human experience is that everywhere he is judged on his actions and their consequences. Indeed, the judgment is itself a principal consequence of his actions. More seriously, in many areas of life, he is rewarded or punished by society for his free actions and their consequences. The reward or the punishment is a consequence of his actions, which is to say, his free choices, insofar as they bear on society and its well-being. A person chooses to bring prohibited drugs into a country and is apprehended, tried, condemned, and is either executed or imprisoned for life. In fact, we could say that the principal consequence of man's free choice, of the actions he chooses to do, is the judgment that will be made on him and the consequences of that judgment. The human being is one who can choose freely, and as a result is one who will be judged and rewarded or punished accordingly. That reward or punishment is deemed to be the due consequence of his own choice. So it is that man is the being in the universe who is always facing a judgment in one form or another. The crown and climax of this is nothing other than the judgment of God. But we ought not think that this divine judgment is something simply at the end, in the way there is a final test and judgment at the end of a long course of study. All that we do is being continually judged by God. In all of our choices, we stand in the presence of our divine judge. While we live, we are able to repent, change, reform our free choices with divine grace, and do better. At the end, no such opportunity will lie before us. We shall go before our judge for a final, eternal judgment. In our gospel today, our Lord speaks in the simplest terms of the consequences of our actions and of the divine judgment we shall face. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all who cause others to sin and all evildoers. They will throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Matthew chapter 13, verse 36 to 43. Let us look to the consequences of our actions and to the final judgment that they will assuredly attract. Death, judgment, heaven and hell. It all hinges on our free actions, and which determine their consequences.